Okay, we're gonna... we finished all of Sato's story for now. At least what we have access to. Now we can move on to another protagonist. So I'm just gonna go in order from top to bottom. In the last game, that served me pretty well. I felt like the narrative worked pretty well in that case. This one's unavailable right now. So let's start here. Let's do Yumiko's story. Futamigora Investigation. She's also the one we know the least about right now, because Avi, we kind of have a read on him. We don't know anything about her yet. This is a recollection. Yumiko Shiki and Soda Kiryu head to the coast of Futamigora after receiving a report about a strange corpse found there. August 7th, morning, Futami Town, Futamigora Coast. Mr. Shiki, there you are. Sorry for calling you all the way out here. Not at all. Thank you for bringing the case to our attention. I hear you've got an unusual corpse on your hands. Well, forensics ain't here yet, so I honestly don't know whether it can be called a corpse or not. I was really hoping that someone from Paranormal Affairs from the first game would appear, just as a cameo. But I guess maybe they just don't... they want people to be able to play this game without any knowledge of the first game and be fine. Also, because this game doesn't actually have the number 2 in its name, it's not actually called Paranormasight 2 Mermaid's Curse, it's just called Paranormasight the Mermaid's Curse. But I do know it'll cause a stir if anyone catches sight of it, so right now we're just trying to keep the busybodies away. I'm sure glad it happened while you were still here, though. What with you being from the Tokyo Metropolitan Police and all. Prefectural Police Detective Masaru Ide. Yeah, I guess technically the storyteller is the common cameo character, I suppose. He kind of reminds me of the curator from the Dark anthology. What are they called? Like the Dark Stories anthologies, the games that came after the, like from the same people who made Until Dawn. Where's our cadaver then? Still in the water over there where it was found. Feel free to go ahead and examine it. Oh yeah, Dark Pictures anthology. Yeah. Because they also have, like, a host, the curator that, like, hosts the stories, just like the storyteller does in this game. Over there, I see. Wait, vision ability on. This is Futamigora, the coastline just northeast of Issei City. It's a pretty popular location for tourists, and there are several beaches nearby as well, so a bunch of people are milling around. It certainly is an impressive sight. It's too bad we couldn't come... or, it certainly is an impressive sight. It's too bad we couldn't come here as simple tourists. Wait, they actually had 2 entries for us there. The sound of the waves and the buzz from the onlookers fills the air around us. I suppose it's inevitable that the police being around would draw people's attention. I just hope it doesn't cause a commotion. Are there any birds around here? That is very important for me to know. The local police have the area closed off to make sure bystanders can't get too close. This is Sodo Kiryu. He's worked with me as my assistant for a long time now, although he usually makes his living as a psychic detective. He's not officially with the police, but with my assignments being what they are, he has special permission to accompany me on investigations. Sodo Kiryu, psychic detective, 25 years old. An independent psychic who makes his living as Japan's only psychic detective. Sodo has no permanent residence, instead traveling throughout the country for training and resolving any metaphysical incidents he comes across. Something which eventually led him to gaining his current moniker within the industry. Although he has a calm and taciturn personality and is possessed of a sharp mind, he is surprisingly sensitive by nature. However, this trait does not extend to mercy towards spirits and other phenomena, which he often ends up subduing by force. Primary spiritual abilities, curses. The ability to use particular curses to inflict harm or otherwise negative effects on others. Effects range from forcibly binding a target in place to dealing fatal wounds. The stronger the curse's effect, the greater the burden on the user. Shagan, the ability to see the face of a deceased individual from their remains, allowing for recreation of their features via a portrait sketch. That sounds like a really useful ability for a detective. Only a small piece of the deceased remains is necessary to use this ability. However, enough of the thoughts and desires of the dead individual must remain for it to be effective. He has to be a good artist so he could actually translate what he sees in his head onto paper, though. Wait, the Feast of Shadows? The ability to create a domain in which the potency and range of certain types of spiritual abilities are increased, only effective at night. Soto himself is able to create a domain up to 1 kilometer in range. This was from the first game. Soto's family runs a small shrine dedicated to a certain Onmyoji from the Sengoku period. This Onmyoji is said to be an ancestor of the Kiryu family, which may explain why their bloodline has produced many individuals with a strong spirit sense over the years. Soto was born with an exceptionally potent spirit sense even within this lineage, leading to his abilities catching the attention of legendary psychic Itensai Shiki when he was 8 years old. Itensai subsequently took him under his wing as his protege, and Soto underwent rigorous training under his watchful eye. Again, they chose not to use a mentioned Onmyoji from the first game here. Even now, he's always quick to respond when summoned by his mentor's wife, Yumeko Shiki. Oh, she's the wife of his mentor, and often supports her during her work. He also has a keen interest in swords and is extremely knowledgeable of blades from all countries and eras. AV, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. These got updated, but just with extra information. We already kind of knew this. Yeah, he studied the blade. We recently came to Mie from Tokyo to investigate another case. With so many other incidents occurring, I can't help but get the sinking feeling something troublesome is about to happen. Detective Ide has been a huge help to us so far. We might be able to reveal some of our circumstances to him. Is there anything that stands out to you so far, Soto? I'd like to get a better grasp on the details before saying anything, I think. This is Masaru Ide, a detective from the local police. He's acting as my point of contact while I'm over here, as well as providing any support I need. I don't doubt it's quite a troublesome assignment. There are a lot of things that need to be kept secret for one. But he's been very good at not prying into the particulars while doing what needs to be done, occasionally grumbling notwithstanding. Given what this case has ended up involving, though, those particulars may not end up remaining undisclosed for much longer. Hey Alice, welcome to the stream. Masaru Ide, prefectural police detective, 35 years old. An assistant inspector in the 1st Investigative Division of the Criminal Investigation Department of the Mie Prefectural Police. Every time they give the titles of the cops in Paranormasight, they always have really long titles. It's so redundant, like the word investigation is here twice, basically. And it was the same in the first game, too. I mean, I guess that's how they directly translate some of these titles in Japanese, maybe. He often finds himself saddled with whatever troublesome tasks come to the department's way, something he makes sure to grumble about each time, but is a proficient detective in his own right, being diligent in his duties and having passed his promotion exam without difficulty. Why am I reading this in her voice? I should just read this as a narrator. Although often said to have a somewhat unreadable expression, he's quite sociable and makes a point to attend all the department drinking parties. Born and raised in Mie, Masaru never ventured beyond bicycle commuting distance of his hometown, Sioux City, until the time came for him to attend university. With no particular plans for his future in mind, he took the employment exam for police officers, figuring that a local government job would at least be stable. He has no admiration for the police or any strong sense of duty or justice, but found the strict discipline of the police force suited his personality. He quietly married a fellow classmate from the police academy soon after graduating, and at home he takes on his role of doting father to 2 sons and a daughter. If pressed to discuss his hobbies, they would include walking and combination puzzles. Strangely enough, he often happens to be walking nearby whenever incidents occur, leading him to being the first on the scene even when off duty, something his colleagues frequently tease him about. So he has bad luck, is what you're telling me? Or good luck, depending on how you see it. At first glance, he seems the sort to find hard work troublesome, but he's proven himself to be quite the thoughtful individual. If that attitude of his is a deliberate ploy to get those he's dealing with to lower their guard, he's certainly not one to be underestimated. Do we know what the situation was when the corpse was found? I just got here as well, so I'm not clear on the details myself. But from the sounds of it, a local civilian happened across it about an hour ago as they were passing by. They got us on the scene immediately, so no one else should have seen it. That's a relief. We don't want people working themselves into a frenzy over this. Where is that local now? We got someone taking their statement in a nearby police box. I'll let you know when we get more info there. Please do. He's not important enough as the main character to get a portrait, so he'll just be off-screen and unnamed. Weren't you gonna examine the body? First things first, let's start by taking a good look at the corpse. Wait, it's a mermaid. I see. So this is the corpse in question, is it? Unusual is certainly one word for it. It's all dried up now, almost like it's been mummified. But apart from that, it's pretty safe to say this is a mermaid, right? Let's take a closer look at it. It would seem like the fish half of the body begins from the shoulders downward. All the mermaids I've ever heard of have had the fish half start from the waist down. If it's a fake, maybe whoever made it didn't do their research. Really, several of the mermaids described in old Japanese legends had their faces as the only human part, though. Seriously? I guess that makes me the one who didn't do their research then. As you can see, there's no doubt it has a human head. That's the main reason we went ahead with treating it as a corpse. That makes sense. I can't imagine anyone would have seen a creature like this before, after all. If it really is a mermaid, wouldn't this be a pretty huge discovery? It's not the sort of thing we'll be able to make public, that's for sure. I don't suppose we have any way of confirming their identity. Their identity? Given the state of the body, it'd probably be difficult to confirm based on facial features, but we might have a chance of using dental records. Though that would depend if they've ever had a dental exam. I see. That makes sense. Well, luckily for me, I have someone here who's just able to identify corpses' bodies with a glance using magical superstitious power. Honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards it being a fake of some kind. What do you think? It's true that many of the mermaid mummies discovered were ultimately found to have been man-made in origin. Mermaid mummy. Relics believed to be either the embalmed or mummified remains of mermaids are preserved in temples throughout Japan. Among them, several are said to bestow blessings such as eternal youth and longevity or sound health, and are treated as objects of worship. In the 1970s, some garnered so much attention after being featured on TV that some people traveled en masse to see them, prompting some temples and shrines to discontinue public viewings. Mermaid mummies have also been documented in other countries. In the 1800s, the exhibition of mermaid mummies as exotic curios became a widespread phenomenon across Europe and the United States. Although these mummies were originally believed to be genuine, subsequent analysis has revealed fibers from materials such as wood and paper in their composition, exposing them to be man-made in origin. The quality of some mermaid mummies crafted in Japan during the Edo period were particularly high, with several being widely circulated, especially in Europe. However, the revelation that many of these mummies were man-made does not disprove the existence of mermaids, and debate on the topic continues even today. You won't find me complaining if it is. No need to investigate a fake corpse after all. Maybe that's being too optimistic, though. We'll just have to see about that, won't we? When I first saw this expression, I thought they must have died in unbelievable agony. But at the same time, I can't help but feel like they look almost satisfied? Could just be my imagination, though. Satisfied, If this really is a corpse, I wonder when they died. I doubt their body would have ended up like this, or ended up this desiccated if it had been at sea the whole time. You think there's a possibility that they died, shriveled up into a mummy-like state, then their body fell into the sea and got washed up here? It makes for quite the enigma, that's for sure. There's no sign of any external wounds. I can't see anything that could have caused her death, at least. The body's lower half is identical to a fish's tail. If this was a fish, it'd be a pretty huge one. If we really do have a mermaid on our hands, do you think all those stories about becoming immortal from eating mermaid flesh are true? Oh, so you're curious about that too, Detective. Well, I don't know if I'd actually want to eat it, though. Living forever doesn't necessarily mean you'll be happy, you know? Besides, I can't say I found the thought of eating meat from this thing all that appealing. I see. I suppose that's a natural response. There are plenty of people who'd be interested in getting their hands on this corpse for that exact reason. I can see that. We might even have people fighting over it if it gets out. All the more reason to try and keep it hidden. Sure is a troublesome thing we got on our hands here. What does this do? Oh. Hello. I can't click on it. I wonder if Mermaid Jerky would be any good? Welcome in, Drago. Oh, it's a sticker. I thought it was like a curse stone. The Turdinator. I like how the first game had 20 punful names for these stickers, and this game added an extra 20. Like, they have no shortage of puns. He's had his gaze fixed on the corpse ever since we got here. I suppose he's curious to know what led to its current state. Well, I think we have a decent grasp of the situation now. What's your opinion, Soto? First of all, based on the state of the corpse, I think it's safe to say there's another case of the curse of the Forsaken Fish. Some of the residual curse energy is still lingering around the body. Just as expected, then. I suppose that's no surprise. Huh? What was that just now? We'll try to explain our understanding of the case so far, Detective. I realize some of it might sound a bit absurd, but please bear with us. This corpse is neither fake, nor could it be called a mermaid. It is the remains of a human, one transformed into a fish as a result of a curse. What? A former human? And a curse too? It's pretty hard to know what to say to that. One thing's for sure, that's not going to fly in the case report by itself. Mind explaining a bit more for me? Of course. Let's start with an explanation of our circumstances then. Since Kirby is a strong fighter, if you pat his head, does it give you fighter spirit? I don't know. I mean, Kirby is very important to me and my strength, so maybe that has something to do with it. Thanks for calling Kirby. Hey, Kirby. I'll let you handle the explanations, ma'am. Of course, leave it to me. In return, I'll be counting on you to handle the report. Oh, confound it. You get to do the paperwork. You get to do the paperwork. First, I suppose I should start with a brief explanation of the department I work for. Wait, are you part of some secret department in the security division over in Tokyo? Are you sure you should be telling me something like that? I'm not gonna get caught up in any troublesome business if you do, am I? No need to worry. I doubt it will come to that. Probably. Our work is mostly kept a secret because it's something of a pain to find people who will accept, let alone understand, the circumstances each time. But you've been very supportive so far, so I can't imagine that'll be a problem. Well, if you really insist, go ahead, I guess. As you say, my department is indeed part of the security division. Its proper name is the Paranormal Affairs Bureau. Huh? Okay, I'm glad they just skim over this part, because I don't need to hear this again. This is also in the first game. See, I thought that maybe this... I mean, they haven't mentioned Kuiryu Nakagoshi yet in passing. I thought maybe Ida or Soto. Why did I say Ida? I thought Soto might be his apprentice. I feel like if they're gonna keep making Paranormasight games, if we'll eventually find out who Nakagoshi is. Geez, the Paranormal Affairs Bureau, huh? Though if there really are cases of spiritual phenomena causing harm around the place, I guess it's not that hard to believe there'd be some sort of organization to deal with them within the police. Precisely. I'm glad you're so quick on the uptake and that you played the first game. Well, after seeing that corpse over there, there's not much else I could do but believe it, you know? Oh, does that mean you have spirit sense or some kind of other psychic power? Not to any notable degree, I'm afraid. As I mentioned, I'm primarily a housewife. If you ask me, I would rather sort this all out and get back to home to my husband as soon as possible. Right. Soto here was my husband's protege when he used to work as a psychic, though. He helps me out on any work I'm assigned to. I'm responsible for handling any spiritual work that comes up, yes. Spiritual work, huh? Hearing you say that, like it's just another job, really makes it feel like we're talking about another industry entirely. If you really are just a housewife, Mrs. Shiki, why are you working for a special unit like that? I know it's none of my business, but if your husband is a psychic, wouldn't this all be more of his line of work? True. Personally, I'd also rather our roles were reversed. But there are several reasons why that unfortunately can't be the case. I see. I don't really know your circumstances, but it sounds pretty tough. Either way, I should be good to put this down as a paranormal affairs case, right? That should be fine, yes. You could leave the rest of the investigations to us. We'll also handle the report. More specifically, Soto will. Really? Thanks, that's a great help. You've been voluntold. Not again. Yumeko Shiki. A Tensai Shiki's wife, paranormal affairs employee, age a secret. A woman who balances her work as a housewife with her position as a full-time employee of the Paranormal Affairs Bureau, a secret department within the Tokyo Metropolitan Police. Although the very image of a refined lady in appearance, she has a surprisingly free-spirited personality and tends to find anything she has no interest in too bothersome to take seriously. Things that do catch her attention, on the other hand, often command all of it, and she will actively involve herself into looking into them. She utterly adores her husband, swooning in admiration whenever the topic turns to him, and she is also viewed with affection by some of her co-workers who call her ma'am. Of the 5 current full-time members of the Paranormal Affairs Bureau, oh right, I forgot, there's only like 5 employees. Does that mean there's gonna be 5 Paranormasights? 1 for each of them? Yumeko alone lacks any particular metaphysical abilities despite possessing a meager degree of spirit sense. Even so, she was chosen to be part of the Bureau's elite unit for very particular reasons. Reasons only known to a handful of people close to her. Because like Tetsuo also said he was part of the department but didn't have any spiritual powers either. Oh, and they're going to talk about him here. There was once another member of the Bureau who had no paranormal powers to speak of. Wait, once means that he quit or left. Veteran police detective Tetsuo Tsutsumi, although we don't know how much time passed between the 2 games. They both take place in the 80s though. And the 2 occasionally worked on investigations together. When dispatched on assignments now, she always pairs up with freelance psychic detective Soto Kiryu, leaving all paranormal related procedures to him, and often her much despised paperwork to him. Yumeko's husband is also psychic by the name of Tensai Shiki, and Soto is his cherished protege. Okay, can we stop? I know this is the beginning of one character story, so they're going to put a lot of exposition on us. Psychic sense. Okay, I don't really care about this. I mean, we know enough about it. There's also quite a long article. So, does that mean you came all the way to Mie because you knew something like this was going to happen? Oh, that's awfully perceptive of you, detective. I suppose you could say that, yes. At the very least, the situation hasn't come as a huge surprise. Ah, if that's the case, was the body from the other day one of those cases too, then? Unidentified skeletons. It was indeed, yes. Seriously? That does sound like a pain to deal with. I bet our chief knew all about this when he assigned me to the case. If it lessens the burden, you've been a great help to us so far, detective. I don't mind occult stuff, but I've been asking all these questions out of curiosity. But it's probably best I don't get too involved in all this paranormal business, right? You must have had a good reason for keeping it under wraps after all. I think that would be wise, yes. Still, I never would have thought there's a curse out there that could turn people into fish. And it only half worked, so the victim ended up looking like a mermaid. That's bound to cause misunderstandings. The curse was originally meant to turn a person's whole body into that of a fish, you see. But the victim died before the transformation was complete, so stopped before it could reach that point. The vast majority of the mermaids discovered over the years are either man-made fakes or victims of the same curse. I see. To be honest, part of me was kind of excited when I first saw what it looked like. I thought it might have meant that there are really mermaids out there, you know? Exactly like the ones you hear about in stories. I'm afraid we can neither confirm nor deny it there. Oh, I get why you're asking about the corpse's identity now. It's because you realize they used to be human, right? That's right. Very recently, too. The transformation likely happened yesterday, or even earlier today. What? That recently? Someone could really end up in a state like this after just a day? They certainly could. Seriously? These curses sure are scary. I'll get forensics to take a look when they get here, then. Please do. The investigator in question has worked on paranormal cases before, so they shouldn't need any explanation. Alright, the case from yesterday. Great. That should save us some effort, then. Cursed one day, a mummified corpse the next. Sure is a scary world we live in. You know, I sometimes find myself wondering if I have a bit of spirit sense as well. There have been times I caught sight of strange things while walking down a road at night. When I looked into it later, I found out the place I'd walked by had been the site of an accident or the like. Oh, that might be the real deal then. It's definitely a possibility. I would advise not going too close to anything you see of that nature. It becomes easier for them to target you if they realize you're aware of them, you see. Geez, what would happen then? I guess I'd end up possessed or something. There is that danger, yes. In the event you are possessed, you may find yourself inflicted by headaches, muscle stiffness and hallucinations. Memory problems and impaired thinking are also not unheard of. Headaches and muscle stiffness definitely ring a bell. I sure hope this isn't the work of some spirit. Do people have their personalities taken over when possessed too? I was hoping they wouldn't bring back the possession thing from the first game, but the depth at which they're coming at it here probably implies that it will come into play. It may be possible with spirits who had a very close relationship to their target, such as if they were siblings, or were parent and child. But you almost never hear about people being taken over completely. The negative effects I just mentioned are primarily caused by the two parties not being in sync. That's good to know, I think. Even if a spirit were to successfully possess someone, it would only be able to pressure them to behave in ways that wouldn't be unusual for the individual in question. I see, but in that case, there's no way of knowing whether you're behaving that way of your own will or not, right? Exactly. Hence the prevalence of cases where people don't even realize they're possessed. So that's how things work here. As far as I know, I haven't been having any problems like that, though, so I think I should be fine. Ma'am. What is it? Perhaps I could use my Shagan ability and see if it produces any results. It's not quite a Sharingan, but... that's an excellent idea. I almost forgot we had a handy trick up our sleeve. Shagan, what does that do? Patience, detective. You'll see soon enough. Right. There, it's done. Oh, so it went well, did it? Well done, Soto. What's all this about, then? Soto can see the face of the deceased from a piece of the remains, however small. He can then sketch their features based on what he saw. So that's how you got a sketch of the victim in that other case. An ability like that would be priceless if we could use it on the Force, you know. Well, I hear it doesn't always work, so it's unfortunately not foolproof. So, what did our victim look like? Oh. About that, I think it might be faster to see for yourself. His face. It's Somikawa. What? Somikawa? You can't mean... Oh, that's the end of that one. Oh, we're getting shifted upwards. We still don't have this one then. But if that's the case, then that means Yusa's mom died recently. Not 5 years ago. Yumeko Shiki arrives in Toba City, Mie Prefecture, to investigate the discovery of skeletal remains with her assistant Soto Kiryu. Date unknown, August, 1980-something, morning, Toba City, Ijika Town. Welcome, ma'am. I've been waiting for you. The site where the bones were found is a little ways offshore from this beach. You went ahead and started the investigation, I see. Thanks for that. Not at all. You clearing everything with local police meant all I had to do was arrive and inspect the remains myself. To get straight to the point, there's no doubt. Signs of a curse are clearly evident. The skeletal remains are tied to a supernatural incident. Seems I was right to trust my intuition on this one. Alright then, let me hear the full report. Understood. This is the town of Ijika in Toba City. The area is a historic place known for its ama divers. Oh, I know it well. It's also famous as the filming location of one of Japan's most well-known monster films. I wouldn't know about that myself, ma'am, but you seem unusually well-versed in that area. Those old tokusatsu films are the best. You should watch some for yourself, Soto. As you wish. I will look into it. Oh, I thought they were gonna give me a file about, like, tokusatsu. A diligent and earnest young man. His mentor, my husband, has nothing but praise for his skills, so he has my complete trust. I know I shouldn't rely on him too much, but he's so good at noticing the finer details, I often find myself doing so. I'd already planned to come here to Toba and Mie Prefecture together with Soto on another case, but the news of the skeletal remains being found in the area caught my eye, so I sent him ahead to investigate. As expected, it turns out to be the result of a curse, likely a troublesome one at that. Maybe all her birds are only found with this thing. They didn't really explain what this was either. They just kind of gave it to me. Because she's not supposed to have any supernatural powers. To begin, shall we review the details of the case? Is that really necessary? Summarizing may help us notice something we missed. Not a day goes past I don't admire your diligence, Soto. My thanks. I'll strive to be brief. A few days ago, a fisherman off the coast here hauled up a long, rod-like object. It resembled a human bone, so he notified the police. That was about 10 days ago. So he fished it up completely by chance. Following that, the police conducted an underwater investigation of the surrounding area. They discovered multiple skeletal remains in a fissure beneath the rocks. All the remains were already severely deteriorated, with each being several years to several decades old. Huh. As a result, forensics struggled to identify the victims. There was just too little to go on. Only fragments of the skulls remained, so facial reconstruction was apparently not possible. Hardly surprising in such a state. Still, with your ability, we hardly need facial reconstruction, do we? Indeed, I'll report my discovery shortly. You know, one possibility comes to mind. Will you humor me? Please, go ahead. I wonder if those skeletal remains could be the victims of the Kamishima Southern Sea disaster from 5 years ago. Regrettably, that is not the case. Oh, darn it. Please don't sound so defeated. Forensics confirmed 5 bodies in total, but they say each had decomposed over a different length of time. Oh, meaning they didn't all die at the same time. Correct. The most recent appears to date back 6 years. The others go back some 10 years before that. Another 10, another 10, and so on. So roughly one body every 10 years. Indeed, I imagine that any older remains may have simply decayed entirely. Which means someone's been using that fissure as a place to dump corpses for decades. It's surrounded by rock, and with minimal currents in the area, it's unlikely they drifted there naturally. Had that bone not been fished up by chance, we'd never have known. In other words, it was an ideal site for quietly disposing of bodies. So this is no accident. Someone did this. I imagine quite some resentment must have piled up over the years. Indeed, but I already cleansed the lingering resentment in the area. Leaving such resentment to fester could lead to a curse manifesting after all. Efficient as always. My thanks. There is one more point of concern that all the remains have in common. Go on. Each body is a clean, precise cut. Clearly severed. Severed? You're saying they were sliced straight through the bone? Exactly. Each was sliced down through the bone, all with a clean cut as smooth as the last. Forensics noted that reproducing such uniform cuts would be extremely difficult. Even with industrial equipment, such precision would have been unachievable decades ago. One possible explanation is that a master swordsman wielding a razor-sharp katana cleaved each of them in a single stroke. Yes, well, that would certainly explain it. But warriors don't exactly run around with swords in this day and age. Which brings us to the possibility of a curse, I suppose. Correct. If the cuts were made by supernatural means, the rules change. As it turns out, there were traces of a curse in each of the severed points. It's just a matter of time until we found one. Also, for the briefest moment, I glimpsed a curse echo that looked like a warrior in armor. A curse echo in armor? Yes, judging from the crest on its armor and given our location, it appears to be a curse tied to the Heiki. Right, the Heiki. You are familiar with the Heiki, I assume. The Heiki. I'm not too sure. The Heiki were a branch of the Taira clan, a warrior family who rose to the power at the end of the Heian period. From their base in the Ise province, they expanded their influence, reaching great heights under Taira no Kiyomori. But in their pride, they were defeated by the Genji in what is known as the Genpai War. Yes, of course I knew that. The tale of the Heiki preserved just how prosperous they were before they fell. Many who lived through the downfall carried deep regrets. Their resentment is especially persistent. Many traces remain even today, and they can be quite meddlesome. Indeed, you hear all about it all over the place. I guess even by expert standards, it's quite the problem. Abbreviated genealogy of the Heiki. This is just mostly flavor lore, I think. The Kusanagi was also lost to sea in this story, okay. What's more, the katana the Curse Echo carried. I believe it to be of the famed blade Nukamaru. Nukamaru? It's a good thing we have a katana expert with us that knows all the blades. Yes, a blade passed down through the Heiki, once wielded by the Taira no Tadamori. I see. It would seem your love of swords has proved rather useful here. So what you're saying is these skeletal remains were cut and killed by the power of Tadamori's curse. I can't say it was Tadamori himself, but I'm confident it was a curse from someone within the Heiki. At the very least, it offers an explanation for those mysteriously perfect cuts. But the body's being dumped every decade. Surely that can't be the curse too, can it? Correct. I imagine that part likely involves further intervention by someone else. So this wasn't an accident by some spontaneous curse. There's a perpetrator out there. Indeed. However, I can't imagine any psychic with enough power to wield such a curse would dispose of bodies so poorly. My theory is someone's using a curse stone. They are killing through its curse, then discarding the bodies. A curse stone? Think of it as a talisman that lets even those without spirit sense use the power of curses. They are created when intense resentment fuses with a suitable relic. That sounds dangerously convenient. There were a few incidents involving curse stones in Tokyo last year, actually. Didn't you hear? Oh right, this game takes place 1 year after the first game. Oh, now that you mention it, that somewhat rings a bell. So in short, whoever's behind this possesses a stone imbued with Heiki's curse. They use it to kill someone roughly every decade, dumping the body into the sea. Yes, that aligns with the evidence. Thank you for the summary. So it must be Kikuko, right? Now then, about the skeletal remains. Were you able to use your Shagan, Soto? Yes, I did. It only worked on the most recent body, though, the one from 6 years ago. By viewing part of the remains, I was able to reconstruct a portrait sketch of how he looked when he was alive. Here's a copy. I've already provided one to the police as well. Impressive. That ability of yours remains quite an asset. I'm actually more impressed by your artistic abilities. Not always. There are times when the vision just doesn't come through. It's far from infallible. Besides, there are those who could simply speak directly with the victim's spirit and ask who did it. You know, like an ace attorney, because that went so well for them. Even so, none of those methods would hold up as admissible evidence in court. But as a lead in our investigation, it's more than enough. Excellent work. Thank you. We had the police compare the sketch against missing people from 6 years ago, but no matches were found. Darn, would have made things much easier. Detective Ide is continuing the investigation. Ah, the detective with the local police. I've heard he's good, so let's hope he proves it. All the victims are male. Say, Soto, that sketch of yours. Maybe we should show it to some of the locals. Ah, good point. Someone might recognize him if they were around here 6 years ago. If we could identify the victim, it could help us trace the one who used the curse. I guess we can't just leave things be now that we know there's a curse involved. Honestly, I'd rather not deal with it. This face of his is so funny. There you go again. Are you sure that's something you should be saying out loud? Obviously not. I just wanted to get this over with and go home, that's all. Yes, yes, we all know how much you love your home. Hey Wasabi, welcome to the stream. You could see the sea from here all the way to Kamishima. Do you sense anything out there, Soto? Yes, I do. The waters south of Kamishima are saturated with the powerful presence of the curse of the raging waves. I can sense it even from this distance. That's how strong it is. Is that so? Looking out to sea, I can't see a thing. I just hope this means we've made it in time. Even during the disaster 5 years ago, the energy was never this overwhelming. The sea is broken, there's no doubt about it. Or the seal is broken. So it's already broken, that isn't good. The sea still seems calm though. Does the storm not break out immediately? Yes, something seems to be holding it back for now. Oh, so there's a silver lining at least. It seems stable for the moment. We probably have 2 or 3 days of safety. Then we got a bit of breathing room. Perhaps there's still something we could do. I hope we could do something about the curse of the raging waves while it's still being held back. Yes, but despite all the efforts, we still haven't found a way to lift the curse. We might have quite a struggle ahead of us. That's really the heart of the problem, isn't it? We have no idea where your ancestors' keepsake is either. Ah. I apologize on behalf of my family. Ma'am, behind you. Behind me? I feel like you should be more worried if you say that. Unless it's not something bad, like Ide. Oh, hello. Huh? Who's that? Just someone from the town passing by? Well, they can't be a random nameless NPC if they have a portrait drawn in this game. Ugh. She bolted. Soto, after her. On it. Hey, stop! Let me go, I didn't do anything wrong. I've apprehended the suspect. Good work. Sorry for the rough handling. Mind helping us out a little? Huh. It looks like they caught Orochimaru. What were you doing here? Why did you run? What? Don't get smart with me. You're the suspicious one, sneaking around, poking into things. You think folks will be wary with shady types like you wandering through town? Ah, I see. Sorry if we gave you a scare. We're with the police. Nothing shady here. You're with the police? Seriously? You heard about the skeletal remains found nearby, yes? That's what we're looking into. Ugh, you don't look like police. Say, do you live around here? There's something I'd like you to take a quick look at. Do you recognize his face at all? We believe he may have been around here about 6 years ago. Huh? No, don't know him. I see. Then could you point us in the direction of someone who might know about people coming and going in town? No idea. Ask whoever you want. Can I go now? I've got nothing to do with this. Don't know a thing. Alright, sorry for holding you up. What a peculiar woman. It was like her mind was somewhere else entirely. Well, either way, we should talk to more people in town. Agreed. Also, could you ask around and find out who that woman is? Of course. Several hours later. Yeah, I'm glad I don't actually have to walk around the island gathering all this information. Ma'am, I learned a few things. Excellent, let's hear it. The port and town are down that way, so this area is technically the outskirts. It's a quiet town, so a stranger loitering here would definitely attract attention. That's a good point. Bird. Maverick Manny. Hey, Dr. Candy, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by today. We split up to ask around town, but all the leads I found didn't actually lead anywhere. I'm just not cut out for this kind of legwork. He didn't so much as flinch at the thought of tedious door-to-door investigation. Not to mention he's good at it. Having him here is a huge help. I showed the sketch of the victim to several townsfolk. However, it would seem no one here recognized him at all. Unfortunate. I suppose chances are he wasn't from the area to begin with. I guess we'll have to place our hopes on Detective Ide then. I don't suppose we might be working with a bad sketch here. You needn't worry about that. I'm confident in the likeness. It should be a near-perfect match. You're right. I'm sure it's close. Sorry for doubting you. I also asked around about the woman we encountered earlier. Apparently she isn't originally from this town. Oh, is that so? Indeed, apparently she wandered into town about 5 years ago. She's been living alone in a cheap rental apartment on the outskirts of town ever since. When she first arrived, she had nothing but an old wooden box, which she was clutching as if it was very dear to her. Nothing but an old wooden box. Supposedly she used to work as an ama diver. Around when she first moved here, she'd occasionally go diving for fish. But these days she keeps to herself, and no one ever sees her diving anymore. No one really knows how she supports herself, and many of the islanders find her unsettling. Perhaps she fled from something and moved her life here. That was suggested, yes, but she's never spoken about her past, so no one knows for sure. Although according to her landlord, she's never been late on rent. And she's never caused any problems either. Still, it seems odd she gets so worked up about strangers coming to town. Doesn't seem like she's in any position to be worrying about that. You think she might be hiding something? It's possible. Her attitude changed the moment we said we were with the police. Perhaps she was keeping watch over the coast where the bodies were dumped, waiting to see if someone showed up. Right, I mean the most recent body's from 6 years ago and she arrived in town 5 years back. The timing's rather suspicious when you look at it like that. We best keep an eye on her. Agreed. Were you able to get her name? Apparently her last name is Somakawa, but I didn't manage to get her first name. That was Mare, I think? Because they also called the other sketch Somakawa, but that one definitely looked like Mare. Oh, but that means she's dead now. Wait, but it's only been like 1 day since they met her. Somakawa. Why does that name sound so familiar? You've heard it before. I think so, but I can't quite remember where. But I'm a woman who cast off her past long ago. I guess I shouldn't let it bother me. Not this again. Let's leave any time-consuming background checks to Detective Ide. Very well, I will inform him. A woman living in Toba, although she occasionally does work as an ama diver, it's unclear who she is and where she came from. She apparently showed up in Toba about 5 years ago with nothing but a grubby wooden box to her name and has been living there ever since. Strange and stranger by the minute. Like, it makes sense if she ends up here, but how about the whole never being behind on rent part? That's interesting. So this means that woman might have been marking us since we got here. It's possible. I apologize for not noticing sooner. Even a moment's lapse can expose one to a curse. I was careless, but I won't let it happen again. You can be cursed that easily. That's terrifying. What a world we live in. That concludes all the information I gathered from my inquiries. That helps a lot. Thanks. Shall I summarize our next steps? Yes, I suppose we need to do something about all this. Let's see. Regarding the unidentified skeletons, until we can identify the woman from the sketch, or the victim from the sketch, we have no other leads to move forward. I believe this is best left in Detective Ide's hands. Yes, agreed. And I think the same goes for that Somakawa woman from earlier. We'll have Detective Ide look into her. Yes, it's nice to have someone we can rely on. Agreed on that end too. In other words, we can safely leave the skeleton case to him for now. Yes, although we should remain vigilant regarding the curse stones. Regarding our main objective, or the so-called Curse of the Raging Waves. Without knowing how to lift it, there's not much we could do right now. I don't suppose there's a chance you'll be able to break the curse using brute force. You're quite good at that. It's certainly an option if worse comes to worse, but I can't say I have high hopes it would work. I guess it'd be more realistic to try to find some clues about the whereabouts of your ancestors' keepsake instead. Indeed, it is said that item may hold the key to lifting the curse of the raging waves. But even the location of the map pointing to that keepsake has unfortunately been lost to time. Although the map was said to be hidden inside a model of a mermaid mummy. One rumor says it was sold overseas during the Edo period. Doesn't sound promising. If we can't find it, I guess we're back to try to break the curse with brute force. But to consider that route, we need much more intel from the island. Which is why we need to head to Kamishima. At the very least, advise the locals to evacuate. Yes, hopefully someone of influence there will believe us about the curse of the raging waves. Is something wrong? No, it's just one of the islanders I spoke with seems to be calling me over. Something may have happened. I'll go find out. Please do. Ma'am? Who was it? The person who called me over shared a new piece of information. They were told to keep it a secret, but opened up since we're with the police. Go on. Early this morning, down by the shore, they apparently found something that resembled the corpse of a mermaid. A mermaid? Really? That same person reported it to a local authority, and was immediately ordered to tell no one, not even the police. You're kidding me. The local authority then contacted an unknown individual. Soon after, someone came and secretly retrieved the mermaid corpse. That could be more suspicious, could it? Exactly. They were uneasy about the whole thing, which is why they confided in me. What shall we do? Did they describe what the mermaid looked like? Yes, they said from the head to the shoulders it was human, but below that entirely fish. So it was not the classic mermaid from fairy tales, it would seem. Only the head was human. They also said it was completely dried out, almost mummified. The face was unrecognizable. But they thought it resembled a local ama diver named Tamiko Suma. What? Apparently she went out diving alone this morning and hasn't returned. It's likely what worried the witness the most. That is troubling. Damn it, just what we needed. More things to deal with. First things first, let's deal with this mermaid story, come on. Oh. I was expecting this one to unlock. Instead, we get this one. Oh, a new character. Date unknown. Yamashina Estate. Oh, wait, this is Tsukasa's father, right? Mr. Yamashina, thank you for agreeing to meet with us on such short notice. I understand you're a busy man. Not like I have much choice when it's some bigwig from the prefectural police badgering me to do so. So you're Shiki from the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department Security Division, was it? Ah, and here I thought you were just some housemaid. You sure you're from the police in that getup? Well, I am primarily a housewife by trade, but that's hardly important right now. You're also known as Unkaku Dono, I believe. After hearing so many rumors, it's an honor to make your acquaintance. Rumors, eh? Yoshiatsu Yamashina. Male, tycoon, 70 years old. A wealthy tycoon who owns multiple companies and swaths of land, particularly in the Tsu and Issei areas. Born in the Taisho period. Unmarried. His family first came into business in the Edo period. Wait, maybe he's the grandfather instead of the father? I don't know. He could be. He's still the father, I think. He's just old. His family first came into business in the Edo period, traveling from town to town selling talismans, miscanthus, reed hoops, and other items to ward off evil spirits. During the Meiji period, this business expanded into a trading company, and the Yamashina family became prominent contributors to the development of the region. Born to the heir of the Yamashina family business and the daughter of a noble family, Yoshiatsu grew up in an affluent environment, where he received a thorough education tailored to gifted children. Following the end of the war, Yoshiatsu inherited the company assets in his 30s, was quick to sell off the shares he owned, using the proceeds to buy and sell real estate and stocks, a practice that makes him extremely wealthy. After amassing his fortune, he showed a keen interest in investing in ambitious young people, actively mentoring those he took a particular liking to. This approach led to the emergence of many successful businessmen, which included Shinobu Wakamura of Kamishima. Those who have received Yamashina's support view him with both gratitude and a sense of awe, bordering on reverence, referring to him as Ukaku Dono, a title that evokes a figure elevated above the clouds. Yamashina has always shown a strong attachment to wealth, even going so far as to partake in illicit activities, such as illegal donations, tax evasion, insider trading, and media control, all in an effort to garner ever more status and money. In the shadow of the many success stories enabled by his support, many more of his beneficiaries have fallen into bankruptcy or been arrested, fueling endless unsavory rumors about him to this day. Yamashina himself seems to be unconcerned by these rumors, considering everything that does not directly harm him to be beneath his notice. Even as a lifelong bachelor, he has surrounded himself with many followers, both publicly and privately, and has never lacked for anything to satisfy his personal needs. A few years ago, he began to seriously consider the issue of a successor, driven by his determination that his beloved fortune should never fall into the hands of someone untrustworthy. Perhaps for this reason, he began to develop a keen fascination with immortality around the same time, and said to be secretly invested in vast amounts of money into research on the topic. He should go and be friends with Yamamori, the Haku Soaps lady from the first game. Yes, I hear you've been doing some under-the-table research into immortality. And so what if I am? Well, now, I wouldn't have expected you to be such a dreamer, but that does make you a bit more relatable. You can laugh all you want. What's it got to do with the police anyway? It seems on this particular occasion it has quite a bit to do with the police, unfortunately. You don't say. These splendid gardens all fall within the grounds of Mr. Yamashina's Issei City estate. Part of me wonders why he needs so much space when he doesn't have a family, but I suppose he has an image to maintain. People like Yamashina have a tendency to underestimate me whenever I meet with them alone. Having someone intimidating like Soto with me gets them to take me more seriously. I'm glad he's here with me today. I'm amazed we were able to get an appointment with him this quickly. Yes, all thanks to Detective Ide. It would seem he's quite the capable fellow. This one looks cool. Kiting Killer. Oh, you found 5 mockingbirds. You can now access the mockingbird relationship chart in the story chart screen. Wait, they have relationships between them? Well, from the story chart, that's not from the files. Okay, well, that means I can't go back there unless because then I won't save. I didn't know there was a family tree with them. Does it include mockingbirds from the first game, though? Probably not. After looking into the corpse of the mermaid found earlier this morning, it seems highly likely it was taken into the custody of Mr. Yamashina here. He's quite the big shot around here, with plenty of weight to throw around both politically and financially. Of course, all the local police know of him and of his moniker, Unkaku Dono. We had to get one of the higher-ups to act as an intermediary to even get a meeting with him. Personally, I'm happy as long as we can get the mermaid corpse back from him. Although I certainly won't complain if he can tell us anything about the curse as well. I hear he's quite the curmudgeon, so we have to watch our step when dealing with him. This is Yoshiatsu Yamashina. He's a tycoon with multiple properties and companies to his name, mostly based here in Ise-shina. He's long been rumored of being involved in various shady dealings. Special Investigations has had an eye on him for a while now, but they haven't managed to find any concrete evidence so far. It seems he has a knack for pinning the blame on his subordinates before finding a way to slip away. Needless to say, he and the police are quite familiar with each other by this point, though I don't doubt he has local police chiefs and politicians under his thumb behind the scenes. There's no need for me to get involved in all that. I'll be satisfied as long as I get the information we need from him. Apparently he wears that crested hakama every day, not exactly casual wear for most people. Wearing something like that in the summer heat, that's commitment to keeping up appearances. I'll get straight to the point. I believe you took a mermaid corpse into your possession this morning. What? That corpse is linked to an ongoing case. We came here to ask you to release it into the police custody.
No idea what you're on about.
Of course you'll get something in return. We have some information I'm sure you'll find quite profitable in exchange.
Like I said, no idea what you're talking about. If that's all you came here for, then scram.
Oh, pity. I really thought you'd be interested in what we had to share. Assuming you really are interested in immortality.
Huh?
Well, I suppose we barely know each other. It's only natural you'd be aware of our intentions. What do you say to a little chat to get to know each other better, Mr. Unkaku Dono? I hear you've been putting quite a bit of effort into training up the younger generation recently. What's your take on today's youth?
Useless, a lot of them. Bunch of pushovers that let this new generation tripe go to their heads. We're the ones who built this country back up after the war, but they're out there strutting around like they own the place. Far too big for their britches.
My, what a scathing review. Would our resident member of the new generation like to comment at all?
Please don't call me that.
I hear you've been searching for a successor, though. Given your strong opinions on the matter, I take it you're struggling. Though I could see why that could lead to a desire for immortality. After all, there's no need to cede your legacy to someone else if you can remain at the reins yourself,
That might have been true when I started my research.
Oh, I take it that isn't the case now.
I'm no spring chicken. The thought of living for hundreds of years like this ain't exactly appealing anymore. Don't see much point in immortality if I'm already long past my prime.
Well, that certainly is different from the rumors. My apologies for jumping to conclusions. You have my wholehearted agreement that immortality doesn't necessarily bring happiness, though.
Let me clear up one more thing while we're at it. I've already decided on my successor.
Is he giving his stuff to Kikuko? Is Kikuko another illegitimate child of his? Oh.
Turns out the perfect candidate was right under my nose the entire time. I haven't told them yet, but they're a sharp one. They'll do a fine job.
Unless he means Tsukasa, and he's like, I haven't told her anything yet. But I don't really see her as the type for him to be like, yeah, that's a good successor material, you know? Plus, Kikuko said that she wanted to kill Tsukasa, and if she's working for Unkaku Dono... Is that so? I'm glad to hear it. I suppose that would mean you no longer have any need for immortality, then.
Who said I wasn't still interested? It simply has nothing to do with my successor. I still intend on continuing my research. For medical advancement, you understand? Think of it as doing my bit for society. You lot are always quick to assume the worst of whatever I do. How about you mind your own business for a change?
Well, there's not much we could say to that. We'll try to be more discerning from now on.
I've already chosen my successor. No need to harp on about it anymore. I've written up my will and passed it off to my lawyer. You be sure to let your friends at the police know too. By the way, you're obviously not just some run-of-the-mill cop. Who are you?
Why, I believe I mentioned it when I introduced myself. I'm just a simple housewife.
A likely tale. Plus that fellow next to you's got a strange air about him. He's no ordinary person, is he?
My, how observant of you. I suppose you could say that, yes.
Doesn't take a genius to see it. One of them phony psychic types, are you? Phony? I hit a nerve, did I? There are far too many of your kind around lately. Cozying up to those in power by feeding them a bunch of nonsense. Liars and cheaters, all of you.
You seem to have quite the chip on your shoulder about this, Mr. Yamashina.
Don't know if it's because of the occult craze going around, but I've seen far too many folks get taken in by that tripe.
He says that, and yet he is convincing Wakamura using the occult.
That Wakamura over on Kamishina is one of them. Talk about a waste of potential.
Wakamura? We know, because Wakamura has been using a sorcerer, but the sorcerer was not provided to him through Ukaku Dono. That's like a separate thing.
Can't say I care much about who you are anymore. You going around some phony psychic tells me all I need to know.
How dare you? Soto, calm down. He can think what he wants. There's one thing I should warn you about. Eating the flesh of that mermaid you found won't grant you immortality.
And what would you know about that?
Well, you know, one hears all sorts of things in this day and age. I don't know where it came from, but there seems to be a legend that eating mermaid flesh will grant one immortality. All I want to say was just that, a legend. It has no basis in reality at all.
How can you be so sure?
Just think about it. If that legend were true, wouldn't it be strange that no unconfirmed immortals have ever been found?
Yeah, who's to say they aren't just living in hiding?
The legend of Yao Bikuni is passed down in over 100 places across Japan, yet not a single verifiable immortal has been found to show for it.
So you mean to say all the legends are fake? Please. If even just one of those tales is true, there's always a chance there's an immortal hiding away somewhere.
I see. You really are quite the dreamer, aren't you?
I figured you're trying to bluff me out of that mermaid corpse for some reason or another. But now I'm sure of it. That thing's hiding some sort of secret, isn't it? Something you don't want me to find out.
She just gave him the stank face. So you admit you have the mermaid corpse then? Oh, don't worry, we assumed as much from the start. If I'm not mistaken, that mermaid was in some sort of mummified state, no? I doubt you'll be eating it as it is. Surely there's no harm in handing it over.
So you can hog it for yourself? You won't fool me that easy.
You don't think that's a rare specimen like that ought to be placed in care of a proper research institute?
I'm saying I get a specialist research institute to study it. Problem solved.
I suppose so.
I'll make sure that mermaid gets studied properly, don't you worry about it.
By the way, you're quite connected around these parts if I'm not mistaken. This doesn't have anything to do with what we came here to talk about. But I was wondering if you happen to recognize the person in the sketch. It seems he lived in the Ise-shima area around 6 years ago.
Nope, never seen him.
I assume you heard the news about the old human bones found on the seabed. This is a sketch of one of the victims from that case. You sure have no idea who it could be?
First I heard of it actually. Got no interest in things that have nothing to do with me.
Who might this Wakamura be?
Wakamura? He's one of my proteges. He's the one currently in charge over on Kamishima. Used to have high hopes for that one, but that changed when he came under the thrall of some phony sorcerer in Tokyo.
A phony sorcerer in Tokyo?
You heard right. Since then, there's been no end of his nonsense. Buying properties out in the mountains, changing company names, all because something the sorcerer whispered in his ear. He even told me the layout of my house was unlucky and tried to get me to renovate the place. Just recently, he was going on about some curse causing a big storm, that sort of rubbish.
A storm caused by a curse, you say?
Even said the storm 5 years ago was caused by the same curse. He's been trying to wheedle me into helping him find some way to stop it. But I'm done with him and his ramblings. Man's clearly a lost cause. He'll be coming over here tomorrow morning, but I'm thinking it's time to have someone else take the reins over on Kamishima.
I see, so even though you believe in immortality, you refuse to associate with anything to do with the occult.
And you do? I figured someone claiming to be a cop would have more sense than that. How are you meant to solve crimes if criminals can just pull out curses left and right?
You won't find me disagreeing there. So what exactly has this Wakamura been saying about this curse?
Hell if I remember. Why don't you go to Kamishima and ask the man yourself?
Maybe we will. Thank you for the information. Is there anything you could tell us about the phony sorcerer this Wakamura is so devoted to?
Wakamura went on about how there's some big shot who appeared on television. I never heard of him. As I just said, just ask him yourself.
Of course, we'll be sure to do so. How about this then? If you agree to give up the mermaid, we'll tell you what we know in return. For someone who doesn't seem to believe in the occult, you seem awfully fixated on this mermaid and immortality. Which suggests to me you found something you consider quite conclusive.
Bah, what are you on about now?
Well, I happen to know a bit about mermaids, more about mermaids than most people.
Ma'am, are you sure?
It's fine. I had the opportunity to do some research into them a while back, you see.
You don't say, and?
Well, mermaids do indeed have the ability to grant a human immortality.
Huh, I knew it.
More precisely, individuals granted immortality in this way are known as 800-year immortals. Wait, why are you giving this information before he agrees to the agreement?
So they have a lifespan of 800 years.
That's right. As the name suggests, they gain 800 years of remaining life. During this time, they won't age a day, and even if they die, they'll resurrect immediately.
Sounds like a real blessing.
No, I'm afraid it's anything but. One who defies the very laws of nature like that is no longer human. They're an anomalous being that should not be allowed to exist. As such, our position requires that any such individuals we find are dealt with as swiftly as possible. Indeed, this immortality was originally a curse mermaids placed upon humans.
A curse?
Immortality is neither a blessing nor salvation for the living. It's a curse that robs them of the ability to die. None of those who have become 800-year mortals have found happiness. Not one.
But you just said that we haven't found any of these immortals, so...
It renders living among the other humans impossible. It makes them an outcast from society. Of course, there are a few years at first when life will be tolerable. But after that, every meeting ends in parting. You outlive whomever you love or are loved by. Even if you find acceptance, it'll only be for a time. You'll always be shunned eventually. You'll experience this over and over for 800 years. 800 years unable to die, with loneliness as your constant companion.
What if Yumiko is a mermaid, or so-called 800-year-old immortal? She sounds like she's talking from first experience.
This is why many see no other recourse than a life of monastic seclusion, just as Yao Bikuni did.
I suppose that makes sense. Still, there'll always be those who seek immortality. Always have, always will be.
You think so? I, for one, struggle to see the appeal. In any case, there are also certain conditions that must be met for the curse of immortality to be effective. Eating mermaid's flesh alone isn't enough to make you an 800-year immortal.
Oh, and what exactly are these conditions?
Sorry to disappoint, but I'm not aware of the specifics there myself.
She gave him all that information for free. He didn't agree to anything.
The person who has gained 800-year lifespan after being cursed by a mermaid. Someone who ingests part of the body of a mermaid that meets certain conditions will be cursed and become a being known as an 800-year immortal. Once cursed, the individual's own body is lost, and a provisional body is reconstructed using the parts of the mermaid ingested as a medium. Their soul is then transferred to this provisional body, which they are able to control as if they were their own, with their consciousness presiding over both their soul and body from the head. As such, they could already be considered to be more spirit in nature than human. If the individual is fatally wounded or contracts an illness that results in their death, their body will instantly be restored to its default state, allowing them to revive. In the event they lose any body parts, their heart will treat the largest remaining part of their body as the main body, and regenerate any lost parts from there, with the removed part subsequently vanishing. This even occurs in the event that the lost body part is the head. However, these individuals heal from non-fatal wounds at only a slightly faster rate than their bodies would be capable of naturally. So so it's the heart and not the head. But Their consciousness presides over their body and soul from the head, but it's the heart that determines what the largest part of them. Do they mean this heart as a metaphorical heart? Because, like, what if they get cut, but the part of their body that remains the largest chunk does not contain the heart? I think this heart is a metaphorical heart. As these people feel physical sensations of pain to the same extent as they would have in their original body, it's extremely difficult to tell whether an individual is an 800-year immortal or not unless they die, even for the individual themselves. The lifespan of this provisional body is 800 years from the time of its creation. Due to the individual's original body already being lost, not even the mermaid responsible for the original curse is able to dispel it. The individual will only see the end of their long life once 800 years have passed. But I could say this much at least. The mummy you have in your possession is no mermaid.
Huh? Bullshit! Ain't no way there's anything other than a mermaid.
What I mean to say is that Mummy is a different being from the mermaids who wield this curse. Not all half-fish, half-human beings are mermaids, you see. In fact, calling them all by the same name is what leads to mishaps like this one.
Say what? You mean to tell me that's not a mermaid? That real mermaids are a completely separate thing?
That's right, which is why I can say with confidence that eating its flesh would not make you immortal.
Seems like you weren't bluffing after all. So what is that thing then? There's gotta be some reason you're after.
But wait, how does he know that she's not bluffing? She could still be bluffing, I think, but he seems convinced. But he seems shocked at this revelation. Like, so if he knew this information and then she corroborated it, that would explain why he believes her, but he sounded shocked. So he's just taking her at her word, even though he thinks she's a fraud. I imagine that even if you had dissected it and examined, all the results would point to it just being a mass of fibers. In other words, nothing more than a man-made fake.
Ugh.
There's a very good reason for that. You see, that mummy is merely the corpse of an average human, twisted beyond recognition by the curse of the Forsaken Fish.
What? Another curse?
Another curse wielded by mermaids, as it happens. That would be the remains of someone who died under it. It also happens to be the same curse responsible for the mermaids found every 100 years or so across the country. You see now why we'd rather you handed the mermaid over to us. The poor soul deserves a proper burial, same as anyone else. Surely even you're not so hard-hearted as to deny them that.
Curse is this, curse is that. It's all a bunch of hokum if you ask me. That said, the report I got from the Research Institute said exactly the same thing. Okay, so that's why he believes her.
Oh my, I take it you already had the mermaid dissected then.
They said it was likely a fake, but I asked if I wanted them to keep going anyway. I told them to keep at it, but
Aw, Soto seems so distraught. But they only found it like this morning, right? So he already had it dissected and examined that quickly. It should be clear now you have nothing to gain from researching that corpse, least of all information on immortality. Won't you consider handing it over? Well, knowing him, he's a businessman, right? So wouldn't he ask for a price? Of course, we could always take you in on charges of abandonment and desecration of a corpse.
Alright, have it your way.
I'm so glad you've come around. Thank you for your cooperation.
I didn't think he would cooperate. I'll give you the damn mermaid, but in exchange, I want you to tell me one thing.
What is it?
You say there are real mermaids out there. Where are these real mermaids hiding then?
I suppose you can call it the eternal world.
The eternal world?
Yes, mermaids are not creatures of this world, you see. Their original home is Ryugu, the domain of the sea god.
Ryugu? And how do you get there?
I'm sorry to say that Ryugu's doors are only open to the dead. Going there is impossible for a living human.
Huh, you claim anything with a fairy tale like that. It all sounds like hokum.
That said, the entrance to Ryugu is said to be lying somewhere in the Issei Sea. Yeah, you need a very high diver level to get there. There have been numerous sightings of mermaids crossing over to this world in the area's long history. which is why Issei Bay has its share of mermaid legends too.
Now that you mention it, I have heard one of those stories too. Some old tale about mermaids being found on some long-lost island called Taishima or the like.
What? Wait a moment, where'd you hear that story?
Aha! Caught your interest, have I? Looks like this story has some merit to it after all.
I was simply surprised, that's all. It's not a name I've come across in any historical records.
It's just something I heard from one of the young'uns I have out there looking for mermaids.
I see, it sounds like you have a capable young hand. I don't suppose it'd be possible to meet with this individual.
Nope, not happening. Unless you're willing to spill the beans on everything you know about mermaids. Every last bit of info. Maybe, just maybe I consider it then. It's clear you're no ordinary housewife after all. Not interested? Then this meeting's over. I'll hand the corpse over to the police as promised. But don't think I've given up on mermaids or immortality. If they really exist, I'll find them and make them mine. Oh, we're not done with this section yet.
Date unknown, afternoon, Issei city area.
Hey there, you two. Sorry for calling you out here when you're so busy.
I figured it'd be best to give you the rundown on our findings as soon as possible. It's no problem, go ahead. This is one of Issei City's residential districts. Right now the ground is so hot, the air around it seems to be shimmering. What have we here? Oh, this? It's a poster advertising Kamishima. Something about to catch your eye? No, I was just thinking. Surely it would be better to put it somewhere tourists will actually see it.
Ah, good point. Maybe they had some posters left over. Interested in Kamishima, are you? It's a nice place. Great tourist spot too. I recommend it.
Despite the heat, Soto looks as unruffled as ever. I do hope he isn't pretending to just be alright.
Let's hear what Detective Ide has to say. They still haven't explained why I have this vision ability. The only thing I used it for was finding that one bird. I would expect there to be a bird here just because I don't think we're going to return to this area later in the game, but maybe I'm wrong. Wondering about my suit, are you? It's just a cheap old thing. Sorry I don't have anything more presentable.
A message came in from Detective Ide just as we were about to head to Kamishima, so he stopped by to hear what he had to say. Impressively quick work on his part, to be sure. I just hope he has some good information for us.
So, did you manage to meet up with Mr. Yamashina?
Yes, thank you again for your help there. It seems he's willing to hand the body over without any fuss.
Really? That's great. Still, why would a big shot tycoon go all that trouble to withhold a body? If everything I heard is true, you could probably take him in on charges of desecrating a corpse, you know. Or was there something special about that corpse?
How observant of you, Detective. I can, of course, explain if you'd like to know more.
Wait a second, is it related to that secret department of yours? I think I'm better off not knowing if so.
Oh really? I don't mind bringing you into the fold.
Right, because this takes place before they found that other mermaid. Man, please stop trying to rope him into helping us. Wait, no, this is after, because it already... Wait, no, because it said about Somakawa, because we met Somakawa in person. This is before the corpse. I never met the guy, but I hear he's quite the cranky old geezer. How'd your meeting go? I bet he was pretty wary of you being with the police, but didn't he try to pick a fight or anything, did he?
Well, I'm not sure you could say it went smoothly, but I don't think we upset him at least, probably.
You know, don't sound very sure about that.
Oh right, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. So I got all hands on deck to go around asking about that sketch you gave me. We finally found someone who recognized the victim. Oh, that's great news. The person who recognized him was a housewife in her 20s who lived in Kumano 7 years ago. Apparently the sketch looks like a 19-year-old she knew who left the village to go to the city. So 7 years ago he was 19, no? From the sounds of it, the guy had no relatives to speak of. Left the village with nothing but the clothes on his back. She doesn't know what happened to him after that. I see, that would make him a young man with no relatives who left his hometown behind 7 years ago. Did we get a name for our mystery man? Sure did. His name was Kipe Ikoma. Kipe Ikoma. I looked him up in the residence registry, and it does look like he moved from Kumano to Ise City 7 years ago. But it seems he doesn't live at the place he put his address anymore. Oh, that's unfortunate. I checked in with the apartment's landlord. It would seem about 6 years ago, the landlord had his contract terminated after he failed to both pay his rent and return to his apartment for several months straight. The landlord didn't put out a search request or anything, so that's where the trail ends, I'm afraid. If he went missing 6 years ago, I suppose it wouldn't surprise me if those were his remains. We'll keep looking into Ikoma to see if he was involved in anything that might have led to his murder. Of course, there's always the possibility we got the wrong guy, so we'll just keep asking around just in case. Please do. The woman we spoke to said the sketch was really accurate. No doubt in her mind it was Ikoma. Well, that accurate. Then I'm sure we got the right person. Still, how'd you even make that sketch? There was nothing left of the victim but bones. Well, let's just say that's classified for now. Right, guess that means I shouldn't pry any further. Oh yeah, I also looked at that lady you were asking about, Somakawa. Oh yes, did you find anything? Well, it seems she hasn't registered as a resident, even though she moved here 5 years ago. And nothing came up for Somakawa in the civil registry either. I'm afraid I don't have any information on who she is or where she came from. Sorry to disappoint. I see. Is that quite common? It happens. It's not unheard of for folks from the countryside to come here for work and just drift off with no one knowing who they are. Apparently it was really common during the post-war growth period. It seems we have quite the mystery woman on our hands. Yeah, though there is something I've been wondering about. Oh, let's hear it. You have some idea who she might be? Well, have you heard of the Kamishima Southern Sea disaster? It was a big maritime disaster that struck 5 years back. I have, yes. One of the victims of that disaster was an ama diver and housewife of Kamishima by the name of Mare Minikuchi. It seems her maiden name was Somakawa. So our mystery woman shares a surname with a maritime disaster victim. I'm impressed you managed to dig that up. I was already looking into the Kamishima disaster because of the skeletal remains, so it was a happy coincidence if anything. Oh, so you thought they might be related too? I'm glad it wasn't just me. Anyway, it seems like the bodies of those disaster victims were never found in the end, which got me thinking. Huh? Wait, are you saying... Yep. I was thinking Mari Minikuchi could have survived the disaster 5 years ago. And you think she then moved to Ichika and started going by her old name of Somakawa again? That's right, what do you think? It seems like a long shot, but maybe. If that's the case, why would she have stayed in Ichika for a whole 5 years without thinking to contact her family? Maybe she lost her memories in the disaster. Right, if she only had her old memories to rely on, it wouldn't be that odd if she went back to using her old name. Surely her appearance would still be the same though. It is difficult to imagine no one recognizing her for 5 whole years. It's possible she just never ran into anyone she knew. That kind of thing's more likely than you'd think. Oh, speaking of appearances, I found a picture of Mari Minikuchi from a report on the disaster. I haven't met the Somakawa myself, so could you take a look for me and let me know what you think? Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. What do you think, Soto? If she aged 5 years and grown badly gaunt, I can certainly see how this woman might come to resemble Miss Somakawa. My thoughts exactly. It also helps they have a similar haircut. So we agree it's a pretty solid theory. It's certainly worth looking into, yes. But if she really is Mari Minikuchi, there's something else that concerns me. Something else.
This is just what I heard. But it seems like the islanders over on Kamishima think this Mari Minakuchi was the cause of the disaster 5 years ago.
What? Why would they think that?
No idea, but it seems it's pretty much taken for granted most of the folks over there. Even just mentioning her name is sort of taboo. So I was thinking it would be that odd if she felt she couldn't go back home because of that.
Surely not.
Seems as good a reason as any why she wouldn't want to come forward anyway.
If she really is related to the storm 5 years ago, she's a point of interest regardless of her connection to the skeletal remains. Perhaps it's worth looking into that first.
Can I leave the talking to Miss Somakawa to you two then?
We'll handle that, yes. So people believe this Mari Minakuchi called forth the Curse of the Raging Waves 5 years ago, do they? I didn't expect the Curse of the Raging Waves to come up here of all places. Wait. That's it, I remember now. The sole survivor of Taishima. His surname was Somakawa. There was something else about Somakawa. A wooden box. Surely that'd be too much of a coincidence.
Well, that's about all I have to report.
Thank you, Detective. That was very informative. As for our next move, could we ask you to keep looking into Kippei Ikoma for us?
Roger that.
We'll see if we can find Somakawa again and hear what she has to say. Unfortunately, it looks like our trip to Kamishima will have to wait until tomorrow.
So it seems. Oh, you have business on Kamishima too?
That was actually our original reason for coming here, yes. But now we've gotten caught up in all this other troublesome business, so it looks like dealing with that will have to come first. Here I was hoping to get this over with as soon as possible so I can get back home to my husband.
I see, you sure are devoted to your husband.
Oh, very much. Though I do worry as he never eats properly when I'm not around. In any case, please do get in touch if you find anything else of note. Even if it's just something out of the ordinary happening, anything could be of help.
Sure, will do. Though you're kind of making me worried something might actually happen now.
I'd certainly prefer if it didn't. Anyway, we're counting on you, Detective.
Wait, we're still not done with this episode? Or like this story chapter? It just keeps going. Bad news, ma'am. It seems we were a step too late.
Huh? What do you mean?
It seems someone came and took that Sobakawa woman out to sea just a few minutes ago.
What?
According to the witness, a foreign man came to the port with Miss Somakawa in tow. They then boarded a motorboat that was moored there and headed up into the bay. It didn't appear to be by force, so we could probably assume they knew each other.
A foreign man. Not sure what's going on, but we should probably get a boat and follow just in case.
Yes, let's see if...
Soto, what's wrong?
The spiritual force is overwhelming.
My body won't move. What's going on? Yeah.
Oh. Because if a foreign man took Somakawa, it has to be Abby, right?
That girl over there, is she doing this? You can withstand this curse. You really are quite strong, mister. Sorry, but I can't let you go any further. I'll have to ask you to leave. Votitikos Numa, guardian spirit, grant me the wisdom of Numinous. O high guiding spirit, light my path ahead.
It seems like they saved us the effort of searching for them.
So it seems. Let's see if this girl can tell us what we want to know.
Who are you?
I could ask the same of you. What do you want with Miss Somakawa?
So you know who Miss Somakawa is, do you?
Maybe. What's it to you?
Ma'am, this girl's spirit sense is extremely potent, but she lacks experience. She's hesitant to employ curses against people. If I have an opening, I can use my curse of binding to restrain her. Usually it's too risky to use on ordinary people, but that shouldn't apply here.
Alright, I certainly wouldn't mind getting some information out of her, so this is as good as an opportunity as any. I'll see if I can get her to lower her guard. When she wavers, I'll signal for you to use the curse of binding. Sound like a plan? It's Lewis versus Marnie from Fire Emblem Engage. You know what? You are actually so right.
Sounds like a plan. On your signal.
Use Soto Kirio's Curse of Binding to restrain your opponent when they let their guard down. Press the Use Curse button to signal him to use it. You have only 3 chances to use the curse. Compliment. Appease. Now, there's no need to be so uptight. How about we stop all this and just talk a bit? Not happening. You're just gonna use the curse the moment I drop my focus. Can we assume the foreign man who took Miss Somakawa is a friend of yours then? So what if he is? Why are you trying to follow them? What do you want with Miss Somakawa? I could say the same to you. You just want the relic for yourselves, don't you? What? You know about the relic? If you know about the relic, I'm afraid we can't let you get away. Get away? I'm the one holding you here.
This doesn't feel like it's working.
If you know about the relic, I'm afraid we can't let you get away.
Okay, I feel like there's no time limit. I just can't use the curse more than 3 times.
We'd rather not be heavy-handed about this either. Let's calm down and find some other way to resolve this, Sorry, but that won't work out, B. I'm at a rebellious age, as you see. If you resist anymore, we'll have you taken in for obstruction of public duties. Wait, you're with the police? Despite appearances, yes. Defying us could net you quite the heavy punishment. I see. You must be from Paranormal Affairs. Then I definitely can't do what you say. What? You have quite some nerve standing up to us despite knowing where we're from. Don't think you'll get off lightly for this. Threatening me won't get you anywhere. You can't arrest me unless it's an emergency, right?
Oh wait, there's actually a check mark now.
You're also at Paranormal Affairs then. Sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about. I suppose there's a trouble with secret departments. Not even our own members recognize each other. What a bother. So we're both from Paranormal Affairs, are we? Let's talk. Perhaps there's some way we can help. I told you, I don't know what you're talking about. It's none of your business anyway. Even knowing we're from Paranormal Affairs, you kept a straight face and hid your ties. I could tell you're both bold and smart. Thanks, I guess. Will you give up now? So you're from Paranormal Affairs, but you need the relic yourself, so you're unwilling to cooperate with us, am I correct? Is that what you think? Can you give up already?
Wait, but there's nothing for me to do.
Alright, I understand where you're coming from. We won't interfere anymore.
Wait, is this really the ending?
Soto, you can stop now.
Ma'am?
Really? Thanks.
Just kidding!
You grown-ups and your dirty tricks. This game hasn't really used a meta thing yet. Like, the first game did a meta thing fairly early on. We still haven't really done that in this game. You did well to be cautious of us, but I'm afraid this is how grown-ups get things done. Now, will you tell us what you've been up to here? Well, I suppose I've slowed you down enough. You'll never catch up to the boat now. Black Esteri, guide my path with thy merciful hand and uphold me.
What? She broke the binding.
Bye-bye.
Confound it. Stop right there.
Looks like she's given us a slip. I doubt we'll be the catcher now. Still, I'm gonna have to word with Paranormal Affairs about that girl. I put in a call to Paranormal Affairs about our errant young lady just now.
I see. I assume she's indeed affiliated with them.
Yes, it seems her name is Cersei Lunarlight, which sounds like a VTuber name, I know. She's an exorcist from England who's come here on exchange, part of her spiritual trading, as I understand.
The Lunarlight family, I see.
Oh, are they well known?
I've heard of them, yes. They're a distinguished family of exorcists, quite an old one, too. It would certainly explain the strength of her spirit sense.
Right. In any case, it seems she's in care of the paranormal affairs while she's in Japan. Honestly, I do wish they'd tell us these things in advance.
What is she doing here in Mia Prefecture?
Well, it seems even Paranormal Affairs isn't sure what she's up to. They've been looking for her. From the sounds of things, she's been skipping her training assignments to travel around Japan, visiting all sorts of spiritual spots instead.
It doesn't seem like they've been keeping an eye on her at all.
Unfortunately not. They asked me to tell her to return to Tokyo once we next see her.
Yeah. Yeah, Marnie overpowered him. She must have had to build in strength instead of resistance. And Lewis used magic here, so she was resistance against it. I see. More work for us then.
Yes, the things we find ourselves caught up in. She seemed to know about Somakawa too. I've got a bad feeling about all this.
Shall we try looking for her? I imagine she's still in the area.
No, not now. If all that is true, I doubt she'll be looking to cause too much trouble. Besides, I'm sure we'll run into each other again eventually. Well, I think that's enough trouble for one day. Let's call it a day. We'll head for Kamishima first thing tomorrow.
See, I think it's kind of interesting how we have two protagonist groups that are directly in conflict with each other. The first game kind of had that, but not exactly. Understood. Oh, Soto looks like a dark magic user, which has an advantage over anima magic, but Cersei uses light magic. Really? So that's all we have for Yumeko so far? And we still don't have this one. We still haven't seen the scene where she meets with Wakamura, which we saw here. Which, this timeline's gonna stretch out again, because that should be happening at the same time as this. Okay, I guess with that, wait a second, we have to check the bird chart. I totally forgot about this. Best buds, in love, bad blood, and then question mark. I like how there's music for this. It's kind of funny. The little, like, emotes, too. Oh, those kazoos in the background, that's so funny.